started, and I typically do show this on the video.
I'm laughing because everybody has their process,
I do a little shaky shake. Get ready.
Get your energy going. Yeah.
Okay.
My energy is always flying, so I'm good.
Okay. Take a breath. Okay. Eden, here, just be spiritual. Well, come on, everybody. Let me go ahead and say, as usual, I give a little talky talk before, but I would like to go ahead and introduce Aumara Bonnet, who's going to be our guest. So please say hello.
Hello.
And is it okay if I say where you are, or at least generally?
In the Sedona area?
There you go. Awesome. Okay, so before we begin, I just want to clarify to listeners and watchers that I discussed this with Bruce 2 episodes ago, and I want to highlight it again, to be very discerning with guests that I have on the show. Not that you have to be discerning with Aumara, but I have people on who are very strong with their opinions. Some of it may not sit with you all that well. Some of it may sit well with you. And I have had a couple of guests that have, just say it, have not been all that nice to me. And I appreciate everyone calling that out as well. Yet I just want to clarify too.
Wait a minute. You're losing me here. So you mean guests as you're the host and I'm the guest, and these folks that you have on are not, you're in conflict with them? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not in conflict
They're not
with them.
nice to you?
Yeah.
No, but you're in conflict if they're not nice to you. You guys got a conflict going on.
Oh,
so you've got something going on there. Yeah. Okay.
There have been a couple times where, you don't know this, and a lot of times I ask questions just because I know it, but that wouldn't really even matter. But you're here as a guest on my show to explain. So, there have been several that are like, well, you don't know this kind of a thing. And I'm like, And I just want to let everybody know too, that when I get done with our podcasts, when I'm producing them as well, I'm very clear on, is there value in this? And if there is, I publish it. Okay. There's been one guest that was not appropriate for the show because the show is based on the Great Awakening. And I thought he was aware of a lot of these components, but wasn't really. So beautiful guy, just wasn't a fit on the show. So again, I can tell you understand all this. So just whatever fits with you, because my intention on the show is to show you more, to bring more into your periphery from a human level, but always based on a spiritual framework, and to accelerate you, to evolve you, and all of that. So that's what we're really going to focus on today, right?
Right.
Okay. Oh, and I did want to give this. I've included in the notes on here. So my friend Joe Rosati, who's on the episodes a while back, who's just fabulous. They just did a podcast with Ian Farrar, and he will be on the show at some point, probably in March. He's a health and wellness expert, gold medal athlete, and he's got components or health nutrition aspects for you, for those who have the jab and who are on regretting it. So elevating your health. And if you can start this podcast in 3 minutes, he starts to explain some of that. And I also, with that, want to be very clear that this podcast also isn't about, we're not getting the jab and we're not getting vaccinated, because we all know people that have had that. And it's not, the show is not judgmental about that. It's about loving everybody. And okay, I'm gonna go with that. Okay. Can I give you an introduction now?
Sure. Okay. That was you speaking to your people, your podcast folks. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
There you go. Okay. Now we're going to start with you. All right. Aumara Bonnet is a renowned psychic, spiritual teacher, coach, energy healer, a mystic, and gifted visionary who taps into the higher realms to join with the vast collective of source energy known as the Voice of Divine Oneness to present the Oneness Ancient Wisdom teachings. She connects with spirit to bring forth the guidance, support, and understanding so needed, yes, indeed, at this time of human evolution. She is the founder and owner of the Voice of Oneness Healing and Learning Center. She is a licensed educator who holds both bachelor's and master's degrees from Dowling College in Oakdale, New York. She is certified Reiki master teacher, clinical certified hypnotherapist, and EFT practitioner trained in levels 1 and 2, and advanced matrix healing. And I'll go ahead and get this, and I'll post this to you for more information about her. Visit askomara.com. Well, hello there.
Hello there. Thank you for that introduction.
Yes.
Sounds
Anything
like
you
I'm
want to
very
add?
busy.
You are very busy. Anything you want to add to that?
Um, you know, it's wonderful, and I experience all that you have related that describes me. But
Yeah,
when we're ever evolving, we're consciousness, we're ever evolving, and your
exactly.
show is all about this great awakening. So we're awakening, we're evolving. So the awakening to the next greatest iteration of ourself. And where we might had at a point in my own, if we look at my bio, it says, yeah, educator. Well, there was a point when I was in the classroom and I was teaching high school. There was a point when I was teaching elementary school. And there's a point when I left that classroom for the global room, the global classroom, as a teacher of oneness. And that's my current role. So if you ask me, what do you identify as? Not that that's my identity, because I
Right.
understand I'm consciousness. We're
Mhm.
all consciousness, holding awareness in a sea of consciousness. So mostly what I do is more of the spiritual teaching, the spiritual guidance, and assisting folks with understanding their energy,
Mhm.
understanding where they are in the moment, understanding how to access the potentials that exist in the field, how to recognize that we're not stuck in any one place or any position. Although
Yeah.
there's things happening in the world right now, there's a lot taking place. What's happening is that which is not aligned with the truth of that which we are falls. It has to fall. That's because we're expanding, we're growing in consciousness. So
Mhm.
as we come to the awareness of the next greatest iteration of ourself, now that which we held before falls. That's no longer our truth, because we're getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Some people call that going deeper and deeper down into the rabbit hole. I call it going deeper and deeper into the expansion. So we're
That's
expanding.
really, really nice. Yes.
We're expanding. We're coming into a deeper understanding in each moment of that we exist on the planet. We're coming into a deeper understanding individually and
Mhm.
collectively. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody thinks like us and everybody's behaving the way we'd like them to behave. Everybody's everybody, no matter what is consciousness, but we can say that we're at different awareness points.
Mhm.
What we are aware of, identifying ourselves as what we're choosing to experience, that's what we're receiving. So when we are calling this a great awakening, the great awakening means the vibration is raising collectively.
Mhm.
And as our individual vibrations collectively join, we come more into a unified field. It's uplifting of everyone and everything. Doesn't mean that everybody awakens at the same point, but now the potential is stronger. The energy is stronger. There's more. If we only know one color, the color white, and we would never experienced any other color, that's all we'd ever know. But
Mhm.
once we start to see other colors, oh, there's more colors. Oh, and I can take those colors and mix them together and come up with another color. Oh, how fun. And this is kind of where we are, in a playful sense, not to make light of anything we're going
Right.
through, for sure. I
Mhm.
know I'm connecting with people every day who are contacting me for spiritual guidance, or who are students of mine and going, okay, now help me understand this in my life. This is going on. What does this
Yeah.
mean? And I go, okay, well, now we'll breathe and we'll go
And
into the
can you talk
meaning of
about
it.
that for a second? Like you talked, like your phone is kind of ringing more off the
Ringing.
hook than it used to. What are you noticing with people? Because I have to interject this too.
Oh, many things.
Again, seeing more every week. I just this past week, again, knowing that the world right now is inverted and there's okay, let me just give you this as an example. So really seeing now that so many women that we think are women are actually men, from Brooke Shields, Michelle Obama, um, Naomi Campbell, and the list goes on and on. So once you start seeing all of that, again, a part of it is like, oh my gosh, we've been so deceived. And how can this be? And this is just ugly. And then finding balance with all of that. All right, what are you finding people are seeing?
Yeah, well, that's a great example. I didn't have anybody call me on that yet, but that is a
That's a
great example,
component.
because we have this transhumanism and this all this confusion that's in the field of, because we're consciousness,
Mhm.
and everything is consciousness, everything's energy, and everything's vibration. But we're also at different points of awareness. So we have our own individual expression of energy, and we have a collective expression of energy. And our energy overall in the collective is been under extreme manipulation for eons of time.
Mhm.
We think about just this lifetime. Many people, they don't think outside of, I was born and I'm
Right.
this age and I live
Centuries.
here. Yeah,
Mhm.
but we've been around for eons, and we have arrived at this place now where we're ready to tackle
I
this.
know.
We came into this life experience ready to tackle this. So now everything that's not that is thrown at us to try to take us off course, knock us off balance. Go, oh my gosh. So I get so worried about the fact that Michelle is Michael and she was Michelle, and I believed how beautiful she was, and always, the persona that was created.
Oh, and
The
let me throw
persona
this in
that was
there.
created.
This there are markers that totally show if you're male or female. So like if there was a mass grave and scientists went into the grave, they could discern, right, looking at body types, who is a man and who's a woman. So this
Mm-hmm.
isn't just conspiracy theory. Like there are,
Mm-mm.
if someone hits a certain number of markers, of male markers, they are male.
Now.
I mean, there's no getting around it. And there are lots of surgeries now that are so beautiful. And
Mm-hmm.
this also has been going on for centuries, men
Yes.
being women. So this is not new. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
please
Mm-hmm.
proceed. Okay.
I believe that it is so that a very small percentage of those of us that incarnate truly jumped in too quickly, and we're carrying the past incarnation's energy, whether that be male or female. So although we're coming in as a female, and this is not to insult anyone,
Yeah.
this is just, what's going on energetically. If we're coming in female this lifetime, but yet we jumped in too quickly, we weren't yet ready from the last incarnation,
Mhm.
and we're holding that male energy, that vibration more towards the masculine, well, then we might say, okay, I'm the wrong gender.
Mhm.
I identify more with, not identify, because that in and of itself is kind of where manipulation can really go
That's a tough
wild.
word.
It's a
Mhm.
tough word. And I have something to explain on that in a moment. But we say, okay, they really are connecting to their past as the other gender.
Mhm.
So now we have a world that's saying, oh yeah, you don't know who you are. Let us tell you, let us tell you.
Mhm.
And come here, come to me, and we'll
Come to
give you
this
this
hospital
operation.
and we'll spend
I,
thousands of dollars and you'll be on
yes.
these
And
things
we'll
for
treat
all
you
your life.
differently.
Yeah.
We'll treat you well, and that's another word that they come up with: equality and equity, and they're not the same. But yet in our mind, we think they are.
Mhm.
We think, okay, equity. If in a state of equity, we all have the same. No, that's a falsely constructed field to make it so that everybody has an experience and none exceed the other.
Mhm.
None is expressing truly their talents and gifts. They're being dimmed down so that they play in a playing field that's equal. And that is not something that we
Well
were
put.
created to be.
Mhm.
If we take everything, and this is one of the things I say when I'm teaching, take everything and take it back to the creator. Okay, take it back to the creator. We're here, and what's one of the basic foundations of this game of life on this planet? is free will. Okay, so if you've got the all-powerful, omniscient, omnipotent, everywhere ability to make changes in people's lives and make it the way that it wants it to be, and it doesn't. So if the creator's not doing it, who are we to say that we're to do it? We're not about that. We weren't created. We are the creator in form here. We are part of that. If we think of an ocean and we scoop up a part of that ocean in our hand, there's no difference between what's in our hand and what's all around us as we're standing in the ocean. It's still the ocean. The creator had a thought and it wanted to experience itself. So sparks of itself were created out of that thought that now are in human form here and now. If we just go to this moment and we don't go to the origin, the very beginning, we just fast forward, zip, we're here. So we're here as sparks of the creator having a human experience in and through us. So it gets to experience itself, and itself is life. So as we're experiencing this, we're coming up against everything that as a human race, a collective race consciousness, we subscribe to beliefs along the way that we were separate from that which created us. Therefore, I have to protect me and mine. And I have to create borders, and I have to make all these conditions so that I can protect myself. When that's never, ever, ever going to work, because there's nothing to protect, because we are not ourselves, we are part of the whole.
So and it hasn't worked.
To this point, got us here. But until we realize that this is our awakening, this is the great awakening, this is coming to the awareness that even though it's the beginning of it, it's coming to an awareness that we must unify, we must join together, we must be in community. We must work together and take our gifts that we are here to express. And together, now we are more than we could ever be by ourselves. So as we join in that, now we're joining with the creator that created us in the knowing that we are that, and then we experience a world. There's where the peace lies. There's where the peace lies. There's where the love lies. There's where the greater human expression lies. And we are very deep into that. And I give the example too, when people say, yes, but there's a dark cult and there's a cabal and there's all these things. No denying it. Absolutely no denying it. Okay, because that's helping us to become aware that we are not that. We are not to be controlled by anyone, any outside source, any person, place, or thing. Nothing is meant to control us. We are created free. We are always free. And it's time now that we free ourselves. And this is what we're doing. We're living through this experience. So we have a tug of war, a rope. If you have a rope and you're having a tug of war, you have to have a team on this side and a team on this side.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And the stronger one is going to win. So take it from the physical strength and put it on the spiritual strength. And as we grow spiritually, now we are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And this other opposing, this side is now starting to show some deep signs that it's about to crumble.
Okay. And I am seeing more signs of that. What would you say to that, Aumara?
Absolutely so. Absolutely. The fact that we're even standing up and saying no, that we're even standing up and saying no is huge. That we're even asking ourselves, okay, if all this is coming out and we're learning all about this transgender, and we're learning, and we're if we're able to, we're at a awareness, and we can only do what we can do with where we are in consciousness. We can't make somebody aware of something they're not yet ready and they have no foundation for. Right. Okay, so we have to do what's commonly known as plant little seeds, little seeds, and pray for their germination, that they grow roots and shoots and blossom. But the fact is, when we plant the seed, now there's not just one color. Now there's other colors appearing. So there's other things appearing. Some people, what happens is, as more awaken, now the field, now it's more magnetically charged for the awakening. So those that are not yet ready, their level of readiness is up leveled a little bit.
Hey, even if they do nothing.
Even if they do
That's what's
nothing.
so beautiful about right now
Even
is
if they
someone
do
can wake up and
nothing.
be like, things are different. I see a new color today. What the heck is happening to me? Which is
Exactly.
so wonderful.
Exactly. And that will be a phone call that I might get.
Mhm.
I'm experiencing this, or I had a
Yes.
dream. Can you explain this to me?
Mhm.
I don't understand what's going on, but the dream, when I wake up, it's with me all day long, and I could feel it in my body. Why do I
Something's
feel it in my
different.
body? It was a dream. Something's different.
Mhm.
And the people around me are behaving a little bit off. What's going on? And that's because they had a reality shift. They shifted a
Because the
reality.
people are still behaving the way they used to, but now you are seeing things
You're seeing
differently
things
as well.
differently.
Oh, well, let me ask you, when did you start to realize that there was this disharmony in the world? Were you younger? Have you always known? Yeah, tell us more about that.
You know, That's a good question. Word disharmony, I love it. Because growing up as a youngster, you're so innocent, you're so pure, and
Yeah.
you want to experience love, and you just want to have fun and be in joy, and hopefully you've got an environment that cultivates that. Um, but as growing up as a young child, quickly coming to an awakening myself, that not everyone around me is experiencing what I'm experiencing.
Mhm.
And it comes at where you are in the level of awareness that you're at. And if you're a child, um, you're going to get what makes sense to a child. So, for instance, it's back. I'm thinking back to the point of around, I guess, age 7.
Yeah.
And a neighbor moved in across the street, and the moving truck comes, and you're all excited. Can you wait to see, the family car pulls up, and oh boy, there's a girl, and she looks like me, she's around
Oh,
my age, and I'm all excited. And they move in. I go over, I knock on the door. She wants to play. She's allowed to play. She comes over my house, so we're playing. And I don't know what we were playing. We're playing something, probably dolls or something typical. And then I say, okay, it's time for us to lie our bodies down. And she looks at me, I remember, and I say, oh, lie our bodies down, and we leave our bodies, and it's okay because we'll know when to come back. And it's like it's
okay.
and yeah, I go, okay, let's play,
I've
and
been
we
like,
did it.
yes.
Yes, we did
I
it.
wish we were neighbors. Oh my goodness. Okay, proceed, please.
But what comes after that is the hurt, because she went home and everything was great, and I went and knocked the next day and thought she'd be able to come and play again, and the
Oh,
door opened just as far the security lock, the little chain, and
uh-huh.
her older brother was there and said, "You need to go home.
Oh
You're crazy."
no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. And that
Oh.
happened. And then there was another experience where I went to a friend's house for a play date, and she had a stream in her backyard. And I just saw
Ooh.
the fairies immediately, because I can see and pick up on that energy. And I wanted to go,
Yeah.
come on, let's go play with the fairies in the stream. And once again, I was never invited back,
Oh
So
no.
I got to learn. You get to learn, and this is how we
Right.
learn. We learn that, yeah, you just, well, maybe I never really learned, because I always was kind of going out there, because I have a very open heart. So I'm always, getting myself in trouble.
I'm
But
always going to play with the fairies all the
the
time. I'm going
fairies
to eat
all the
dinners with the
time.
fairies. Come on.
And I always want people to open up and express and feel,
Right.
so I'm always pushing a little bit. But yeah, that happened. That happened. And then it was okay. I realized I realized I was different. I realized I was different. I knew I was different in my family unit. I knew I
Yeah.
was different in the world around me.
Hmm.
Um, uh, my ability to feel and sense was very, very, very strong, very
Right.
strong.
Hmm.
And I didn't have vocabulary to explain it. There wasn't the word, sensitive or highly empathic, attuned at that time. There was no such vocabulary for that. Um, and so I lived my life from that place of feeling everyone around me, feeling the thoughts, feeling all the energy. So what happens when you're young and that happens, you tend to recoil a bit. You tend
Hmm.
to,
Well, you kind of
pull
have
back.
to.
Yeah, you pull back.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then there were different little isolated incidents that happened during my teenage years, but then I went to college, off to college, did my thing, and it wasn't well, it was in my late 20s, I guess, when things started to pop a little bit more. When I say pop, it started to come into almost the everyday, something different was happening, And one night I was sitting down, I explained this on another podcast. I was playing a game called Trivia Pursuit with my husband at the time and my parents. And the question that I picked up the card, I looked at the question. It was, what was this player, Pele's real name? And as soon as I picked up the card, read that, it rolled off my lips, the name, the real name. Well, my mother almost lunged across the table to strangle me because she's so competitive. And she's like, there's no way you could have known that. You
Okay, and this is
cheated.
before phones, and you just going, "Hey,
Before
what's Pele's
phones.
name?" Okay, before
Yes,
any
this
of
was way
that.
before that. This was in the early 80s,
There you go.
Yeah, mid 80s. Yeah, about 85, 1985. So I didn't know. So you say to yourself, oh yeah, you're psychic. You picked up on that. Well, I didn't consider myself a psychic. I didn't know anybody else who was psychic. I hung out at the psychic coffee shop. I wasn't working on my skills, trying to do anything. I was
Right.
just playing Trivial Pursuit, and it just came. And those things happened to me all throughout my years growing up, where I was called a cheater a lot of times because I didn't know how I knew things.
Right.
I just knew.
Oh my
So
gosh, so
either
you're
you're a
crazy and a
weirdo,
cheater. Yeah, and a
cheater.
weirdo. Oh my heavens. Okay, I'm just going to
Yeah,
cross my hands
yeah.
on that.
Yeah. So this is for what the information getting back from the world, because it didn't make sense to those around me. And
Mhm.
I didn't have any way to make it make sense either, because I didn't have the vocabulary, or I didn't even know it was a thing.
Mhm.
One
Exactly.
time, about age 14, I was in a restaurant with my parents, and it was a very busy restaurant, and it was a rectangular shape number. And I remember, and there are days when you're more sensitive than others.
Mhm.
The sensitivity is off the charts some days. So this happened to be one of those days. And I'm walking through to our table. Our table was at the far end of the room. And I'm walking through, it's as if time stopped and everybody stopped what they were doing and they turned towards me and looked at me, because energetically I was picking up all of their energy, their
Mhm.
emotions, their thoughts. So by the time I made it to the table at the back of the room, I collapsed in tears. And my parents are like, what's going on? My mother's like, what's wrong? And I'm saying, everybody, I can feel everybody in the room. I can sense everybody, looking at me. And my mother's like, oh, honey, it's because you're so pretty. And I'm like, no, it's not because I'm so
No, it's deeper
pretty.
than that. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Thanks,
didn't
Mom.
know. I didn't know, how to work with that. I didn't know how to explain it. So I didn't have any. There's always been guides with me. I've never felt alone, but I didn't have where I can go, you can just sit there and tune into my spiritual guides and go, okay, explain to me what's going on. I didn't
Right.
have that. I didn't have
Right.
that. So it wasn't until my late 20s, after I had my second child, that I started to have experiences that I could no longer control. So in other words, if I'm sitting here in a podcast and I'm looking at you, you would turn into another figure, might morph into something else, or I might see all of a sudden I see people around you and you're doing something else. And I just started seeing these visions all over the place. I'd look out the window and I'd see Mother Mary in the sky, and all these things were happening, and I'm like, oh my God, this is my mind. I'm losing my mind. So I didn't know what to do, and I didn't understand at that time how I was being guided, how everything was being guided the whole time.
Right.
So I had this little paper that was called a penny saver, and it had ads for local folks doing things, and one of it was a psychic. So I go, psychic, that's what I need. I need a psychic.
How
I
did
need to
you
go to
know?
a
How did you
psychic.
know that you needed that?
I didn't. I had a sense to pick up that paper.
Okay.
And then I opened it up and the word psychic popped at me. And then, oh, that's what I need.
Okay.
I didn't
Beautiful.
understand the bigger picture. I didn't
Mhm.
understand that I was being guided. I didn't understand that I didn't understand the even a greater picture than my own little life experience at the time.
Right.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So I went to I answered that ad, made the appointment. Then another ad in that paper. I was bored. I was at home with my kids. My husband was working all week. He was available on the weekends. So I said, you know what, I just want to have a weekend job. And it was selling encyclopedias. And I thought, oh my gosh, this will be fun. I've never done anything like this
Okay,
before.
can I go right?
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
know,
gosh,
right?
amazing. Oh,
No,
I
but
sold pots and pans. Let me interject that. And it
there
was
you go.
yeah, same genre.
Same genre. So I was drawn to this ad. So I answered the ad, and it was my very first day of work. And that
Yeah.
evening after work, it was my appointment with a psychic. So I'm
Oh,
at work, and the woman I'm working with, we were right in this store, right by the front doors, and we had a
are you
table set up
laughing?
with the
Okay.
display. So I'm very sensitive, extremely sensitive. She's very dramatic. She's got this dramatic makeup on. She's, just her whole demeanor is very dramatic. She walks outside the door to have a cigarette, and she's looking at me. So she's looking at me. I could feel her.
Okay,
So
because you're very pretty.
yeah, yeah, right. So she's looking at me, and I'm going, oh my God, I could feel her. She's scanning me. She's scanning me, So she walks in, and she says to me, she said, where you going tonight? So I said, I'm going, and I don't know why I told her this. I'm so innocent. I'm going to see a psychic. She has a business card. She slams it down on the table. She says, call me when it's done.
Wow.
Mhm.
Neat.
Uh-huh. She was my first teacher. So I went to the psychic. It was an off the wall reading, one of those horrible experiences where they tell you like things like you better go home, put your papers in order because you're going to die, and all this stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
So it was just bad. It was bad news. Anyway, so I went all upset. I pick up the phone. I don't know this lady other than I worked with her for a day, but she lived in my neighborhood.
oh
And I
my
said, I
gosh,
had
that's great.
I had a really bad experience. She goes, I know, come on over. And she gave me the address and told me how to get there. So I drove over, and then we started, and she started explaining things to me. And then she started automatic writing. And then in automatic writing, this is the way that she was channeling through the energy at that time. Then it was speaking to me about the experience I had had. So then that night I went home, and I don't know that I said anything to my husband or anything. I just kept it to myself, I think. And then I was the next day, I'm
How
with
did
my
you keep that to yourself after everything you've been through in
everything
your
in
life?
through.
Were you just like, okay, I need to process this
I
for
need to
me?
process this.
Right. Okay.
Yes,
Before I
yes.
talk about it
Yeah,
outwardly. Mm.
I need to process this. And then it was the next day, I was with my kids, and I was playing with my kids. And then all of a sudden I said this man's name as I'm playing with my kids, as if I'm sitting there with the man having a conversation.
Hmm.
And I went, whoa, what is that? You know? And I said, okay, I don't know what it is, or where it's coming from. And I'm watching TV with my husband, and out comes this guy's name again. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, I looked at myself, I have no explanation. I can't explain it. I don't know who this guy is. I can't explain it. So I get back on the phone. and I said, this is what's going on. She says, come on over. And then
Oh,
we had a writing, and the guy was introduced. It was a master. If we say ascended master, it was the ascended
oh,
master that came through. At that time, I didn't know anything about masters. I didn't know anything about ascended masters. I didn't have any background to connect that to
right.
any schema of that at
Oh,
all. So, and then it quickly evolved. Boom, 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 boom. And then we studied together for
I'm assuming like
years.
once the floodgates were open, because they've already
Open.
been open, like everything just like vomiting.
Yes. Yes.
That's not the
Yeah. And then
greatest
it all
word, but
came,
just erupting.
started happening, erupting. Yeah. Started happening. And then there was
And she was
teachings
there for
involved in
you.
theirs. And we were there for each other. And then we had a small group. My husband was part of that group, so
Whoa.
yeah. So we came together. So we're a group that needed to come together at that time to have the teachings we needed, because there was an awakening happening then, so that
Mhm.
we needed to understand what was going on in the world and what was yet to come.
Okay, so were you
So yeah.
aware at that point that there was more? Obviously, there's more to this
Yeah.
world in terms of ascended masters, and but in terms of
Mhm.
the cabal, in terms of
Yeah, we quickly
grays and
started.
lizard people, and
So it's what we're doing is, when we're going through this great awakening is so the perfect word, because if we add the re in front of that, the prefix re,
yeah,
we are reawakening, because we already have the knowing inside of us. We've already got that.
it's got to find
So
it.
now reawakening to it. We're starting to become aware. We're starting to come online. Just like I had visions and all this stuff happening, that was part of the reawakening, connecting to my first teacher, is now a dear friend, and doing that, sitting down and getting those teachings was part of that. Because okay, now this is opening up. Now let's explain what's going on so that you understand, and we continue to move further and awaken farther and farther and farther.
So to lend in there again on my podcast too, talking about everybody has these abilities or whatever you want to call it, because they are a part of you. So if you haven't come into these yet, that's okay. It's all a process. And probably like you just described for me too, it's every point in my life has been broadening them and expanding them. It never stops. And I have people that come see me who are like in their 60s or their 70s, and they're like, I wish I'd known this before. And I'm like, but now it's okay.
It wouldn't have served you
okay.
before, because we live in a precise universe. Okay. And there's
fabulous word.
There's no excess anywhere. It's precise. Okay. But we don't have that precision in our mental faculty to naturally understand that, but it's there and it's in operation. Okay. That's the consciousness. That's the creator all around us in everything. Okay. And it's always forward moving, life affirming. So right where we are, any one of us is right where we need to be in the moment. What's there, and what I'm going to use the term lacking, is our understanding that the moment is correct for us, because we are conditioned to look for the next thing. I want that. 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 But what about who's wanting? What about what's right here? So when we get to the point of that reawakening, to go, wait a minute, let me look at what's here. And we're not all meant to be teachers of oneness. We're not all meant to be podcasters. We're not all meant to be healers, although we certainly have a capacity. And when we come into tuning into the collective, the one mind, the one heart, boom, we can tap into that. We can certainly access it if that's necessary in this precise universe. We'll do it. But if it's not, then we got to say, okay, let me experience myself. And I know that I'm a divine being of light, and I've got within me all that I need to present here right now. I have a purpose. I have a mission. Let me not look to someone else's and say, okay, I want that. Let me see what's here, and then get on board with it. So
Oh, I was going to ask you, is this a good time to go into the Voice of Divine Oneness? Okay.
The Voice of Divine Oneness. So part of everything that was unfolding for me, it was also when I was going in the physical, I wanted to go more into past life regression, because it's something that fascinated me. So I was studying past life regression, and it was a summer-long course, and part of my experience of that, a homework, was to do automatic writing myself. Now, I had been part of a team that experienced it weekly for years and years and years, every Saturday night in my living room, but I wasn't the one with the pen in my hand. Nor did I ever want to be the one with the pen in my hand. It was not something that called to me. I was the one in the team. We all had roles that we played. I was the one, when the writer wrote, that was the writer, that was her role, and still her role to this day. She writes. My husband was the one that read what she wrote, and then they'd say to me, now you explain. And then I would teach it. I would explain to the other members of the group, to everyone. So we all had our roles. So I never wanted to be the writer. That wasn't my thing. But it was homework and I had to do it. So I did it. So when I started doing it, that's when writing started coming through to me. I don't want to go too deep into it, but it started off to write and explaining to me that I was a member of this team, the oneness team, from the very beginning of creation, colonizing the planet way back when. And that, moving forward in time, I'm back now as part of a oneness team. I'm not the only one. There are many other oneness teachers on the planet, all over the planet. But we're back now to bring the teaching forth, because we realized that there were things that didn't go right the first time. So we're back to help, and so the whole purpose of oneness is to release separation from the collective experience. So when we come back to you, we unify. So how do we do that? We plant those seeds. We bring out these teachings. We help people understand the true nature of their being, self-discovery. And we can take this back on the planet. We go back maybe 5,000, a little bit more over that, to the rishis in India. And these are the teachings we talk about, ancient wisdom teachings. Well, that's a source of ancient wisdom teaching. So they were bringing it out into the planet at the time. We fast forward, we're here today, and now we've got the Divine Oneness team and those around us that are teaching oneness. Now, when we're teaching oneness, we say, okay, most people will go, that's the interconnectedness of all things. And we'll say, okay, yeah, that is that's one understanding of the word oneness. But oneness is that which we are, and it comes forth from the one point, the Godhead coming forth. We're all birth. We're all part of that same consciousness. So if we think of that as an out breath, we're born into the world. And then as the in breath, when we come back to that one point, that oneness. We come back to the oneness where there is no separation, where we're not separated. We realize that we're part of the same whole. So it's about bringing that and creating the foundation for moving deeper in that and reaching an individual wherever they are in their awareness. Naturally, those that are going to contact me, are drawn to me, have some understanding of the term oneness and want to go deeper.
That'd be great.
That's an explanation of the teaching of oneness. So we may start with somebody realizing, because they might not be understanding what's going on within their own life experience, and they may not be realizing that they're judging themselves. They're holding themselves in judgment. They may be at a point, and they may have done some spiritual studying, and they might go, but I release judgment. I'm not judgmental. And we say, well, now let's examine on releasing judgment from others in the world around you. That which you see is more evident to you and easily to see, but you're not necessarily aware of the judgment you're holding within yourself. How are you judging? So we might start there. Usually we're always working on self-love,
Of course.
Mm-hmm. That's usually a good place to, and somebody will go, yeah, but I love myself. We'll say, okay.
I think just go deeper.
Deeper.
You can go deeper, and then you go deeper, and then you go deeper.
So
it's an infinite process. Hey, let me ask you, Aumara, when if there is some sort of, okay, let me see how to word this, a big truth within our world that you would like to say to people, what would that be that they may not know?
That you are an aspect of God consciousness here in this life to experience the love of which you were created as and by. That's it.
Nice. Very concise. What y'all think about that?
That's it. Because, now place oneself there. Oh my gosh, I'm there. So now I'm opening up and I'm allowing myself to experience. There's nothing holding me back. I've got no resistance.
Okay.
Because I am that.
Maybe to encourage. So Aumara is going to help us with our Just Be practice in just a moment. And I think that would be delicious to add in there as well. Let me see if I want to ask you anything else before we do that. I have never, I know what EFT is, but I don't think I've ever talked about it on the show. Do you mind giving, because it's,
emotional, it's the tapping.
Yeah,
it's
tapping.
Emotional freedom technique. So it's doing the tapping to release the emotions that are held in the amygdala, the part of the brain, the back of the our lower brain,
the reptile brain.
The reptile brain. Yeah. So it's we get stuck in that fight or flight, we can't move forward. So the tapping on different points helps to release that energy which we're holding on to, that's holding us back, and move forward.
Okay. And again, I love, there's so many different holistic practices, if you want to call it that, because one of my clients loves that. And she has used that for years, where someone else, it might not quite fit them. So there are all these accessibilities to fit with everyone, which is so wonderful.
That's perfect. Yeah, because somebody, I even expressed to me once with the EFT, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to touch my own body, and I don't want anyone else touching me." No, so they had been through some severe trauma,
Right.
of the physical body, because we have different bodies: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, etheric, astral. We have a lot of different bodies. So it was physical abuse, and so you cannot move forward with a therapeutic approach if it involves touching, if they have, they're so fearful of touch. So
Right.
then you choose something else. You choose something else. Yeah.
Mm.
You choose to just go with the words and just, not even go on the touch, just listen to my voice. And you do maybe some type of other hypnosis or some other type of therapy.
Right. And again, there's so many things
There's so
that
many,
are
so
in the
many.
tool case.
Just be
Let's
practice.
take this moment to move into the practice.
Okay.
All right. All right. To give a little preemptive, again, evolving, ascension, all of that. Not to put pressure on you, honey. But that's what I do with the Just Be practice anyway. So you do what you feel. And again, I wrote down accessing the field of possibilities too, because I loved you saying that. So you just go, honey.
Okay. So how I like to begin, we always begin with breath because breath centers us. So we're going to take a breath in and we're going to breathe into the count of 3. We're going to hold that for the count of 3. And then we're going to release the breath out to the count of 6. So the out breath is double the in breath. And this helps to create balance in the body, okay, by the vagus nerve. So breathing in now to the count of 3. Take a breath in. Hold. Release to the count of 6. Breathe into the count of 3. Hold. Breathe out to the count of 6. Breathe into the count of 3. Hold. Release to the count of 6. Now just relax and breathe in your normal rhythmic pattern. Just natural in and out. And imagine there's a beautiful ray of brilliant white light. And this white light is like a spotlight on you wherever you are seated at this moment. And the light goes to the top of your head. And this is your crown center. And your crown center opens like a funnel and the light pours in. And as this light pours in, it fills your head with this brilliant white light. And this light is now going to move down your body. And as it moves down your body gently, it's going to push out before it all that you're holding that is causing you discomfort. All that you may be holding in terms of concerns or stressors are just going to be pushed out of the body by this brilliant white light. The light now flows into your chest and your arms. And it flows down the upper torso. As it moves now down your thighs into your knees, your calves, your ankles, and your feet. It exits the body through the soles of the feet and goes down into the earth below. As it moves through the layers of the earth, going down, 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 reaching the center core of the earth, the heart of Mother Earth. This light flows into her heart and joins with the energies that she holds within in a divine union of light. As we are now coming into balance with the earth's energies, reaching the soles of your feet, re-entering your body, moving up into your ankles, your calves, brilliant white light into your knees, your thighs, and it flows up now to the base of the spine. where it gathers as a shimmering sea of light. So bright, so pure, so potent is this light. Now, at the base of your spine, seeing, feeling, or just knowing is your root chakra as a red ball of light. It spins now in a clockwise direction. As it begins to spin, it magnetically draws into its center core this white light. The white light pours into the root chakra and fills it with its luminous rays, which serve to cleanse, to purify, and to restore the balance to the energies held within this center, to the correct frequency in perfect resonance with your consciousness here and now. Having balanced the center, the light moves upwards now to the sacral center, about 2 inches below your navel. As an orange ball of light begins to spin in a clockwise direction, as the white ray enters its center core, filling it with its luminous essence, serving to cleanse, to purify, and to restore the balance to the energies held within this center, to the correct frequency in perfect rhythm with your consciousness here and now. Having restored the balance to the sacral center, the white light moves upwards to your solar plexus. The center of your stomach is an orange ball of light. Spins now in a clockwise direction, and the white light is drawn into its center core, spiraling outwards within it, with rays of light serving to cleanse, to purify, and to restore the balance to the energies held within this center, to the correct frequency in perfect resonance with your consciousness here and now. Having restored the balance to this center, light moves up to the heart center, an emerald green ball of light, spins now in a clockwise direction as the white light is drawn into its center core and begins to spiral outwards. Its rays of light serve to cleanse, to purify, and to restore the balance of the energies held within this center to the correct frequency in perfect resonance with your consciousness here and now. Having restored the balance to the heart center, the white light moves up to the base of the throat to a sky blue ball of light. Spins now in a clockwise direction as the white light is drawn into its center core. The light serves to cleanse, to purify, and to restore the balance to the energies held within this center, to the correct frequency in perfect resonance with your consciousness here and now. Having restored the balance to the throat center, the white light moves up to the third eye center, deep, rich indigo blue ball of light. It opens now to receive the white light as it flows in. It spirals around, serving to cleanse, to purify, and to restore the balance to the energies held within this center, to the correct frequency, in perfect resonance with your consciousness here and now. Having restored the balance to the third eye center, the white light moves upwards to the crown center. A beautiful violet and gold ball of light spins in a clockwise direction, drawing it to its center core, the white ray, which fills it now and serves to cleanse, to purify, and to restore the balance of the energies held within this center to the correct frequency and perfect resonance with your consciousness here and now. Having restored the balance to each one of your 7 main energy centers, each flowing now in harmony with the others, the white light now exits the crown and returns to the source as you take a breath in and out. In and out. balanced, purified. Opening now within you. Imagine your heart space filling with light. As beautiful, bright light flows into your heart. Your heart begins to fill more and more and more, until your heart is so filled with this light that the light can no longer be contained within your heart. It just opens and releases this light as it flows forth from your chest out into the room of which you are seated, filling the room with brilliant white light. The light now flows from the room out into the world around you, out into your city, your state, and all around the globe, traveling rapidly. This light moves into everything in the world. This is light of purification. The light moves out, and now as you breathe in, it flows back to you, back to you, back to you. You receive. And as this light comes back in, it fills every cell of your being. Every fiber and every cell of your being now holds this light, and it's being absorbed within your cells, cleansing, purifying, restoring the balance. Opening up, allowing the self now to connect to that which you are in truth, your divine essence. Imagine now placing your hands on your heart space and saying to yourself, I am divine. I am light. I am love. I am here and now. I am the expression of all that is good. The presence is within me, around me, always. And I give thanks. And so it is. We breathe in and out. And when you are ready, you may open your eyes. And stretch.
Thank you so much again. I love this for me. Because I'm just sitting here with my little headphones on and you're just talking just to me, even though you're talking to everybody else. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. My
doing
pleasure.
that and helping advance everybody and escalate this ascension, knowing this is your part in the world anyway, and to do it with me, and also to know I'm going to be on your podcast. I think I'm the first guest, right? Because usually it's just you.
Yes.
So this will be fun sometime in February.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
I've already let Todd know, so he knows. So you're on the calendar.
Okay, and Todd's your producer.
Todd's the producer.
In a sense.
And and he'll send me the link. So I don't generate the link. He sends me the link. So he'll send me the link to StreamYard. Yeah.
Very fun. And your podcast is live. So we're going to be talking to people and should be very interesting. All right. So
so there's no edit.
No edit. So be nice, everybody. All right. So Aumara, so your website again is askaumara.com, and Aumara is Aumara.
Yes. Yeah. And that's my website for now. My website is going to be at the end of the month, I believe. It should be done. My web designer is in the process. Will be at voiceofoneness.com. So that's soon to be released. Yeah, and that's going to have a community aspect to it, where there'll be a part on the website where people can just go and gather and share.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
There's no expectation. There's no capturing anybody's email. There's no money
Right. No
involved. It's
marketing. No.
no
Yeah.
marketing. And no, that's the only rule, that nobody's to market themselves on there,
Yeah.
you know, or to think that they're, you know, prophetizing, you know,
Right.
what's going to come in the world, but just to be there for another. Cause, you know, there's some people, you know, they'll contact and they'll say, I'm so frightened. I just want to know everything's going to be okay. And we can say, okay, well, right where you are right here, right now, breathe. You say, right where you are right here, right now, is everything okay? Yeah,
Mhm.
it's okay right here, right now, and go, okay, but just stay in
But
the now, stay right here, and the but, and know that as you are growing, you're going to experience a different but. Okay, so just let yourself experience, you know. And I say, and if there's really a problem, then you dial 911, you know.
exactly. If you're experiencing a different but, call
Yeah,
911.
call 911.
What is your website going to transfer to? What's the name?
It's going to be Voice of Oneness.
Oh, girl. Oh, okay. Voice of
All
Oneness. So
one,
I'll include that.
voiceofoneness.com. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I'll
what
make
it's going to
sure.
move to.
I will
Yeah.
say going to transfer. All
Yeah.
right, honey. Thank you so much for being here
You are
today,
so
for
welcome.
extending your
Thank you.
voice and your heart and all of that. All right.
All
Over
right.
and out.
Over and out. All right. Ciao.
So cool of you to be here. I went from being off most social media to being on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, True Social, and you might be watching this on YouTube, Rumble, or BitChute. Or you might be listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I'm on over 19 directories at this point. So connect, comment, subscribe, like. Oh, and my intention is to have a new episode out Wednesday of each week. Oh, Lordy, more to come.